Hey guys, welcome to episode number 23 of the Happy Knitting Podcast. My name is Julia and I'm coming to you from Germany, and this is a podcast about knitting and spinning and everything yarn related. So thank you so much for watching, whether you're checking me out for the first time or if you're coming back. I'm just so happy to be talking to you guys every week. Actually, it's been about 10 days since I last recorded for various reasons that can't really be explained. I'm really sorry about that, but I'll talk more about my podcasting schedule later. So today I'll talk about my finished objects, my works in progress, my spinning. I have a lot of acquisitions. And some housekeeping, as I said, and then I'll talk about life in general. So, first of all, quick shout out to Kralalin, who is the host of the Colorful Creativity podcast. And she mentioned me on her last episode, and that was really, really funny and nice. And yeah, I didn't really expect that because we've been talking about spinning on Instagram just the tiniest bit, but I didn't think that I would hear my name in her podcast. So thank you for mentioning me, and if you haven't watched her podcast, it's really funny, it's really nice. She does about everything. She knits, she spins, she makes project bags, dyes yarn, makes stitch markers. So if you're a crafty person in general, I'm sure you will love a podcast. So for finished objects, I finished the second version of my shawl design. So just to refresh your memory, I show you the first version again, even though you've already seen it. So this is what it looks like. It is a triangular shawl that has lace in the border, lace in the main body, and a straight section. So this is version number 1. This shawl has been released on Ravelry. It is called the Crazy Days shawl. So like I said, there's a main body with the lace and then the stripes and then the lace edging in the contrast color and an I-cord bind off. So I finished the second one of these shawls, and this one looks a little bit different. So as you can see, I have still done the stripe section, but what I've done is I've used the main color again for the border. I'm not sure if you noticed, but I've also added a different border. So this one has a garter stitch border rather than an I-cord. And the reason why I decided to give you this option, and this is the recommended option in the pattern, is because it has less of a chance of rolling and it is easier to block. So with the I-cord, you really need to block it aggressively and pin out the edges. Whereas with this one, because the garter edge just already gives it so much stability, you can just wash it, lie it flat, and it'll basically block itself. So for this one, I used a skein of Zauberwiese in their merino 400 meters per 100 grams base. So it's a fingering weight, 100% merino base. It was a one-of-a-kind colorway. And I only did the stripes in a contrasting color, and this is some hand spun that I spun from a fuzzing from Fun & Fiber. And I spun this ages ago, I think a few months back on my drop spindle. And yeah, I think it goes really well together. So if you choose to do this option, you will need about 85 grams of the main color, and you can just use a mini or something for a crazy highlighting color. And if you choose to do the contrasting color border, you will need about 60 grams of the main color and 40 grams of the contrasting color. Both of these shawls were knit on 3.5mm needles, and what's really important is that they are knit on a very, very loose gauge. So if you are a tight knitter, you might want to go up a needle size or 2, because otherwise it will affect the size of the shawl. So I'm not sure if you can see, but this is almost my wingspan. I think it's about, the other one is about 150 centimeters, this is 160 centimeters wide and about 60 centimeters deep. I feel like I'm not very good at showing this to you, but you can always just check it out on Ravelry. So as I said, it is the Crazy Days shawl, and I was so scared of releasing this pattern. I was getting on everyone's nerves because I kept worrying if I made mistakes, and I was literally shaking. even after I published it, even though, you know, nothing could happen now, I was just very, very, very scared and nervous and excited. And I'm just so glad that you guys have been so supportive and helpful. And I'm, of course, especially thankful to my test knitters, who were Andy, Jeska, G, and Denise. They have been so much help. Especially, I think, mostly because they are calming me down and telling me not to worry, and that was really important. So to thank all of you guys for being so nice and supportive and all that, I have decided to create a flash coupon code. So with the coupon code Crazy Days, all spelled in capital letters, you can get 20% off the pattern until tomorrow. So tomorrow is February 2nd and it will go until midnight German time. So if you're quick, go over to the Ravelry group and get yourself a cheaper shawl. Also, yesterday I said on Instagram that if you introduce yourself in the Ravelry group, which is the Happy Knitting podcast group, it is. I just had to think about that. I shouldn't have to think about that. If you introduce yourself, I will draw a winner who will get a free copy. And I just drew a winner on random.org, so I hope you guys trust me with that. And the winner was Agata, who is Amanita from Poland, and she is a very, very talented designer and friend of mine, and she's just the nicest person. So I'm so happy, Agata, that you've won. And I'll try not to spoil the surprise and wait for you to finish watching this podcast, and then I'll hope you will reach out to me and I will send you the pattern. And because I thought it was really fun, and it was also a fun way to get to know you guys, I decided that I will give away another free copy using the same principle. So just introduce yourself if you haven't already. If you've already introduced yourself in the last couple of months, you can just lean back and you're already entered. So keep on introducing yourself, and the next time I record a podcast, I will just draw another winner. So I think that's it for my shawls. I have them both lying on my lap right now, but it's pretty warm in here, so I'll just leave them. So that was my only finished object, and it's not because I didn't have enough knitting time. I had so much knitting time, but I've just been so distracted. And obviously writing the pattern took more time than I anticipated to. And instead of finishing things, I've been casting on things. I've been casting on like crazy. Oh yeah, I'm drinking some Portuguese peppermint tea today, and it's really nice. So let me go into works in progress. I don't even know where to start. I'll start with the socks. So these are the socks that I'm knitting for my boyfriend out of Zauberball 100. Zauberball. I should be able to pronounce German things right. So the label looks like this. It is the Zauberball that has 100% virgin wool, so there's no nylon content. So it isn't really supposed to be for socks, but I figured it doesn't matter. And this is the colorway Für Luise, which is spelled like this if you're not German. So, as I said, I'm knitting these for my boyfriend. He gave me the yarn for Christmas, and I decided it's more his colors than mine, so he will get a pair of socks and they will be super cuddly because there's no nylon, and yeah, Zauberball is just a very, very soft yarn, I think. So as you can see, so these are the socks. And as you can see, I have quite a prominent strap where I've put in the heel because I couldn't be bothered changing yarns for the heels, and I thought it wouldn't matter, but exactly in the point where the heel started, I had a really rapid color change, so I guess the sock now has a strap, but it doesn't matter. But yeah, so last week I had only done the ribbing basically, and I've knit quite a lot on these, and the reason why these got so much progress is because I used to knit these while I was studying. And since I was studying like a crazy person this week, I've been knitting on them quite a lot. And for the first couple of days, it really helped me because what I'm studying is really boring, to be honest. And when I knit socks, I don't really have to look at what I'm knitting, but it kind of keeps me more entertained. So I was really happy with this solution for a while, and then I started associating the socks with studying, so then I kind of didn't like knitting on these socks anymore. But anyways, I feel like I've already gotten good progress, so next time I show you these, they'll definitely be done. And I'm knitting these on my Adi Premiums, which are the 2.25 millimeters, and they have the golden cord. I'm never sure if the Adi Turbos are just an American equivalent of these. I'm really confused with when it comes to Adi needles, but they're really nice. They're relatively pointy, not crazy pointy, but pointy enough. And I really like them for 2 at a time socks. Back in progress number 2. Is my succulent shawl. And again, I forgot to put in a stitch marker where I was last week, which is stupid. But I'm using this hand spun Polworth that I spun myself. This is 100% Polworth. I had a 125 gram braid, I think. Yes. And it's from Zauberwiese, which is a German yarn dyer who apparently I mention every week. I never realized how much I used Zauberwiese until I podcast. So weird. Anyways, I'm knitting the succulent shawl, which is a pattern by Maria Monska, who is the host of the Stitch in Sweden podcast. And this is my second succulent shawl. The first one I knit quite a while back. I think I was already podcasting back then. And I decided to knit the pattern again because I needed a pattern for my hand spun, and because I really, really love her patterns. So this is what the shawl looks like. I think last week I was about here in the second lace section, so I've done another stockinette, another lace, another stockinette, and I started the next lace section. And this is a really, really entertaining pattern. I really love knitting on it. It has lace on both sides, but then the lace is really, really clear, and I've memorized it really, really quickly, so I don't even have to look at the pattern anymore. And yeah, I can just recommend this pattern so much because it is so much fun. And I am knitting this on my 3.5 millimeter needles. These are interchangeables, and these are the interchangeable Knit Pro Novas, and I'll talk more about these in a second. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this is going. It's really interesting knitting with handspun, especially because I've never knit a lace sort of shawl with my handspun yarn, and while I really like my handspun, I'm also realizing what I need to do differently when spinning yarns to achieve the sort of yarn that I want for knitting. So this one, I thought I had plied it quite well, but it is a little bit loose, and that gives it a bit of a halo, which I think is fine. But yeah, I feel like I'm learning a lot, and I'm using this for my handspun challenge. So if you haven't been watching before, I am doing a handspun challenge where I am challenging myself to always have a handspun project on the needles. And that is because for one thing, I want to always use more handspun because I have a big handspun stash, and I don't want to spin yarns and then just have them, you know, getting old. And also, it's really motivating me to spin better, and I feel like as a spinner, it's really important to actually knit with your handspun. Sorry, my throat is going weird. Because I sometimes enjoy spinning my yarns more than I enjoy knitting with them. But in order to make a really, really good yarn, you can't always feel how well you've spun it just by, you know, touching this braid. You actually have to knit with it. So yeah, I'm really, really enjoying my handspun along so far. And you're welcome to join me in the Ravelry group. I will probably do some sort of prize thing at some point. So just keep on joining, and once there is enough people, I will draw for a winner. So that's my succulent shawl. And then I think all my other projects you haven't seen, which is always exciting. So I have cast on a hat, and I will show you the yarn first. This yarn is Portuguese yarn, It's from a brand called Tricot Brancal, and I have linked it in my project page, which will be linked in the show notes, so you can look it up there because I cannot pronounce everything that was on the label. So this is a Portuguese merino, and it is really, really soft. It's a DK weight. I had about 120 grams. So while this looks like a normal cake now, it was really, really huge when I started knitting with it. And the pattern that I am knitting is the Antler Hat by Tin Can Knits. And you might know this pattern. She has, I think, an antler cardigan hat, and I'm not sure. She has quite a few patterns with this sort of antler cable motif. So this is what it looks like. It's a pattern, it's a free pattern. It's supposed to be for worsted weight, but I am using DK weight, so I cast on for the large size. And instead of a 1x1 rib, I did a 1x1 twisted rib. And then in the pattern, you're supposed to then decrease a couple of stitches and go up a needle size and knit the rest of the hat. But since then I didn't have the right needle size, I stayed on my 3.5mm needles and increased a couple of stitches instead. So I think you're supposed to do 5 purl stitches between the cables, and I'm doing 7. But honestly, all of my changes are in my project page, and so if you're interested in adapting this pattern to worsted weight, DK weight, just look there. But anyways, I think I'm about ready to start the crown decreases, and I'm really, really enjoying this pattern. I think it'll be a great hat, and I need a sort of more toned down gray hat because I have a lot of colorful hats. And yeah, I really enjoy a good cabled hat, and I just needed something like that. So like I said, I'm using 3.5mm needles. I'm doing this on magic loop. And yeah, I think that's all there is to talk about that. I finally cast on the color affection. So I think I never talked about that pattern, but I've been wanting to knit that for a very long time, and things just kept getting in the way, and I wanted the perfect color combination. And I had 3 colors picked out, but still wasn't too sure about it. And then the other day I watched Isabelle, who is Fluffy Fibers, and has the wonderful, wonderful Fluffy Fibers podcast. And she had ordered her yarn for her color affection shawl, and it was relatively similar to my colors, and I loved it. So I was like, yeah, I'll just cast on mine too. So I'm knitting the color affection by Vera Valimaki, and the 3 colors that I'm using are these 3. So the 2 grays are Cascade Heritage. The light one is just called Gray, which is very, very creative. The dark one is called Charcoal. And then the pink one, let me show you the label, is a German sock yarn that I haven't tried before by the brand Sternenstaubwolle. There you go. And this is her Twisty Star base. It is high twist, 80% merino, 20% polyamide. It is 400 meters per 100 grams, and the colorway is called Rosa Tulpen. So this is what it looks like in the cake. It is really interesting. It has pinks and oranges and fuchsias, and I think it'll be really nice. So that's my 3rd color, and I have started knitting on the first section. I think almost done with the first section and about to start the stripes. But this is what it looks like so far. So it's a garter stitch pattern. It's a paid for pattern, so I can't tell you too much about it, but lots of people have been making modifications to the edge. So instead of knitting 2 stitches for a garter tab, they do knit 1 yarn over, and then they drop the yarn over in the next row in order to achieve this sort of more stretchy bind off. But all of that is again in my show notes, so you can just look it up there. And I'm knitting this on 4.0mm needles, which are the recommended needle size, and these are also Knit Pro Novus interchangeables. So my next project is one that I'm really excited about, and it is my sock yarn blanket. So I finally joined in the craziness. I kind of had told myself that I wouldn't, but yeah, I got a sock yarn blanket and I'm just so in love with it. So I'm doing 49 stitches and I'm knitting my squares on US size 0 or 2.0 millimeter needles. So I think most people use bigger needles, but I really like the sort of tight fabric and gauge that you get with these needles. And the way I do my decreases is I do a center double decrease in the middle, obviously, and then on the wrong side I purl that stitch. And by purling that stitch, just the middle one, you get this sort of really nice center line, I guess. So I really like that, and as you can see, I've added 7 squares so much. All of these are my own yarns, so I don't think I'll go into detail about every single one of them. If you are wondering, you can just ask me. And I'm weaving the ends in, well, I'm knitting them in as I go. And so the only ends that I have right now are the ones on the bottom edge. And all the other ones, as you can see, are just being knit into the back and you can't even see them. So I'm really enjoying it, and I just want to squish up with my blanket all the time because it's so nice and squishy, and I love knitting with it, and I love like trying all the yarns. And yes, I'm very excited about this. I really promised myself that I wouldn't start knitting one because for a long time I wasn't really sure if I liked the result, and because, you know, starting to get into the whole mini skein thing is a bit dangerous, but I'm having so much fun. And I made a lot of mini skeins from my own yarn, so if anyone, preferably within Europe, just for shipping reasons, wants to do a mini skein swap or wants to send me some minis, just let me know and I would love to do so. So yes, I'm really excited about that. I think I need to add some more squares today because I just love it so much. I can't stop shoving it in my face and smushing it, and yeah, I love my sock yarn blanket. So that's all my works in progress. The needles that I'm using for this, by the way, are slightly bent, which is kind of terrible, but it's because I wanted to use the long DPNs and I started using my nicer ones, only to find out that I thought they'd been 2.25 millimeter needles, then realized they're probably 2.0, but I think they were actually a double 0. So these ones are a size 0 and they're terribly bent, and I might get some nicer ones, but I mean, they do the trick. They just don't look very pretty. Anyways, so that's my works in progress, and I will jump right into spinning. Since I stopped and started a couple of times, now I have no idea how long I've already been recording for, so that's gonna be a big surprise when I edit. So last week I was spinning on a braid or a blended top from Nuno Co. It was their cobweb color, and it was a 23 micron merino, what was it? Merino silk stellina? Yeah, merino tassel silk stellina blend. Yeah, I wrote it down here, why didn't I just read it? And so I plied it, I did a 2-ply, and it is finished. And I really love this yarn. Let's see if I can even zoom in a bit more. You can see all the stellina, and the fire star it actually is. You can see all the glitter sticking out because there was so much glitter in this. And yeah, I'm really happy how it came out. Like I said, I spun up the singles and did a 2-ply, and I thought that it was going to be a lace weight. It feels really thin, but then I have 465 meters in the 100 grams, so that I guess classifies it still as a light fingering weight, but it feels really thin, and this just really wants to be a shawl. And I have these little labeling cards, and I just label my yarns, which I really like whenever the braid doesn't already come with like a label thing. So yeah, this is all finished. I really can only recommend Nunoko, or Nunoko, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. They're an Etsy seller from the UK, and everything I've spun with so far has been just amazing, and I've been loving it, so I kind of want to get some more because I'm addicted to fiber. But when I show you my acquisitions in a bit, you'll realize why I don't really need to order more. So that's my finished spinning object number 1. And then I just wanted to do a quick spin, and I pulled out another old stash braid, and that was the last braid that I had from Das Mondschaf, which is a German dye. And it was a 100% Falkland braid, 125 grams. And it came in really long color strips, so I spun it as a gradient and thought about 3-plying it, and I actually did a little mini skein, but I didn't like it, so I did a 2-ply, and this is what it looks like. So with this one I actually wanted to practice spinning thicker, because against what everyone seems to think, spinning thick is really hard when you're good at spinning thin yarns. And it's 200 meters in about 120 grams after spinning it. So I'm not sure, is that like a worsted weight? It's thick for my taste, but then I've also kind of cheated because I just usually I over twist my singles and I over ply my yarn, and with this one I really focused on not doing it and spinning a bit more loosely and plying a bit more loosely because I wanted a squishy yarn. So I think that also makes it appear thicker than it is. But yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. This is going to be gifted today, actually. Oops, I keep moving the wrong way. Because as much as I like it, and I'm really happy with how it turned out, these are not my colors. So this is probably going in the mail today, but I'm really happy with this. And you know, it's really good when you decide to spin something a certain way and it actually comes out that way, rather than just spinning it somehow and seeing what happens. Like, I feel like with this one I really planned what I wanted to do, and I'm really happy that it came out that way. And funnily enough, most of the colors actually lined up pretty well. So you have these areas of green plied with green and orange plied with orange. So it gives a more subtle bobble pulling effect, and I'm really happy, like I said. And if you want to see the mini skein with the 3-ply that I did, it's a tiny mini skein. You can't really see too much, to be honest. So with this one, it doesn't actually feel thicker, even though it's a 3-ply, but I think I plied this one more tightly and I just didn't enjoy it. So that's why I did the 2-ply. So for spinning works in progress, I guess, I spun a bat from Nunoko. So last week I showed you that they have these random bat droppings where you get 50 grams of whatever they have left over after making other bats, and they just turn that into a bat, and it's really interesting because you can get all kinds of fiber. So I had a bat and I spun it up. So I guess this might count as a finished object. So as you can see, there's lots of blue, and then there's these green bits, and there's lots of like silk noil and sari silk and all sorts of stuff in there. It was really interesting to spin, and again, it spun so well, so I can only recommend Nunoko. And this was my second time spinning from a bat. I think the first time I spun from a bat, it was fine, but the bat wasn't prepared that well. Whereas with this one, it just spun like a dream. Because after the first bat experience, I was kind of turned off by bats and wanted to spin from braids instead, but I'm definitely reconsidering it now because it was so much fun. And it is still on the bobbin because I'm not sure what to do with it. I'm not sure if I want to apply it, or keep it as a single, or apply it with a thread, or chain ply it. I don't really know. I only have 50 grams of this and I really like it, so I'm not sure. When you spin from a bat, you can either spin straight from the bat, or you can, you know, divide the bat into little strips and draft them out and just kind of spin them normally. But with this one, I just spun it right from the bat, so I had this whole sheet of fiber just in my lap, and I just grabbed a corner and spun from that, and that worked really well, and it was so much fun. And before, I really didn't think that I would enjoy that sort of thing, but I really did, so now I want to spin more bats. So that's one thing that is still on the bobbins because I can't decide what I want to do with it. And then I started spinning up fiber that I showed you a few weeks ago. And it's from Die Kleine Wollfabrik, which is a German brand. And this is what the fiber looks like. It is 100% merino. Sorry for the mess, but this is what it looks like when I spin. And let me just say, I really like how it's coming out, but I don't enjoy the process. So as you can see, I'm spinning it relatively thin. And the colors are really, really beautiful. So the outcome is exactly what I wanted. I'm really happy with how it's coming out, but I'm not enjoying spinning it very much. The pink seems to bleed a little bit, and also it was a little bit felted. So usually when I have a slightly felted fiber, which just seems to happen when you're dyeing it and washing it and all that, you can just take it apart into small strips, and that usually solves the problem. But with this one, I had to work so hard to get all the felted parts to be spinnable and to be draftable, I guess. So I was literally sitting there and taking all the fibers apart and trying to draft it, and it kept breaking, so I wasn't happy about that. But now suddenly it all seems to work really well. And like I said, the fiber is the finished yarn, the singles are really, really pretty. It just requires a lot more work than some of the other fibers that I've spun. So that's what I'm really noticing about different hand-dyed fibers, that sometimes, you know, you get really lucky and it spins really well, and sometimes you don't. And I totally understand. I think dyeing fibers might even be harder than dyeing yarn, because you have to be so much more careful, and you can't necessarily just rinse it and see if the color comes out, and yeah. So I'm keeping on spinning with it, but that kind of slowed me down a lot, which is not a bad thing because I go through my fiber like a crazy person anyways. Yeah, so that's what I'm working on my spinning. And oh, by the way, a couple of weeks ago I told you guys that these bobbins, which are for the Bliss spinning wheel by Woolmakers, fit about 100 grams, but it turns out I lied. They fit about 100 grams if you spin thick yarn, but if you spin like a fingering or lace white yarn, you can fit 125 grams onto these. The camera keeps on stopping, and a lot of you guys commented last week that the quality is much better, which I'm really, really happy about, and I also feel like I've kind of found a way to record with good quality that works. But it does mean that for some reason my camera keeps on pausing every now and then, and I need to piece everything together, and I lose track of how long I've recorded for, so I always kind of just hope that in the end I manage to piece together an episode. So that's making it a bit more complicated, and that's why I keep on having breaks. I'm so sorry about that. Anyways, that's it for spinning. So I will move on to acquisitions. I feel like it's getting darker and darker, even though it is only 11 o'clock, but the light is today is just one of those dreary dark days, so I hope you can still see what I'm showing you. So before I show you my acquisitions, I have a lot of fiber to show you, and I hope you guys don't judge me. It's honestly because I kind of spun up all of my fiber stash, and then I decided to just order a whole lot, because I just, you know, I need fiber to be happy, and this month has been a crazy month, and I just needed some sanity fiber yarn spending, I guess. So keep in mind that this is for my stash, and I'm not planning to buy this much fiber every week. So the first order that I received was from Sarah's Texture Crafts, and I've mentioned her about 1,000 times, I guess. She's a yarn and fiber dyer from the UK, and she has beautiful things. So the first thing I got from her, and I didn't even realize how beautiful this would be, is this braid. It's in the Fangorn colorway, and it is a BFL and silk and blend. And I've never spun BFL silk. I've spun BFL, I've spun silk, but the blend looks really, really interesting. And as you can see, the colors are just gorgeous. And I really can't wait to spin this up. And Sarah's fiber is always really, really well prepared, so I can't wait. This is a label, so maybe you can read it. So this is the braid number 1 that I got from her. Then this I saw on the webpage, and that's what made me order initially, because it is just so gorgeous. So she had about 6 different gradients to choose from, and it's kind of blowing it out a bit. So it starts with a pink, white, and then goes into this brownish color that's not really showing up. Oh, there we go. And this is the Neapolitan colorway, and I got it in 100% Polworth. So with Sarah's fiber, with most things, you can choose whatever base you want it to be on. So like I said, the other one was a BFL silk, and this one is Polworth because I just love spinning Polworth. And I think it's a really great system because you can just kind of pick and mix and try new fibers, and yeah, I cannot wait to spin this up. This is so soft. Kind of want to wear it around my neck. Yeah, I'm kind of crazy like that. Anyways, the last thing that I got from Sarah were these bats, and I could not be happier. These are called Purple Tone bats, and I got the merino and sparkle base. And look at that. They look kind of blue, but they're definitely purple. So I'm sorry, hang on. Why are you blowing out? Yeah, my camera definitely doesn't like these colors. They're actually not blue at all. They're completely like, I guess a dark blue and purple. And as you can see, they have lots of sparkle in them. If my freaking camera might focus today. Sorry, I feel like this is all over the place. And so these are her hand-carded bats, 50 grams each. So I got 100 grams, and I can't wait to use these. Again, they're so soft. So yeah, that was my order from Sarah's Texture Crafts. Her card looks like this. And Sarah's Texture Craft is based in Devon. And with my order, I also got a little sample from Dawlish Exclusive Blend, and it looks like this. Sorry, not sorry for the crinkling. Yeah, it's blowing out. Whatever, it's just a sample. And then today, this morning actually, I got another fiber order from the UK, and I'm really excited about this as well, especially because I had ordered this quite a while ago and it seemed to take a long time getting to me. And it actually had my address written on it as well as USA and Germany, so I'm thinking maybe that's what confused me. So I got this beautiful sample from Fondant Fiber, and as you can see, there's a beautiful stitch marker, there's a tea bag, and the fiber is called Daydream Believer, which looks really nice. And this is a really, really big sample. And then I ordered some merino nylon blends because I want to spin for socks. So this is the New York in the Dark colorway, superwash merino and nylon comb top. And yeah, my lighting just seems to be going bad now. It's not really picking up on the colors, but It's alright, and it feels really, really soft. And again, I just want to spin everything. Yeah, I'm addicted to fiber. The second thing I got was another merino nylon blend for the same reason. And this is kind of crazy. It's this bango top. I'm really confused because it says it has stellina, but I don't think it does. I don't think it's supposed to have stellina. But anyways, this is her deep and meaningful colorway. And yeah, this is pretty crazy. I have no idea how this is going to spin up. But it looks really nice. It's really soft, and it is a really, really generous braid as well, because it's supposed to be 100 grams, but I think it's around 120, so that's really great money, value for money. So yeah, again, I'm happy with it. I feel like all I do today is show you how I squish my yarn in my face. Anyways, and the last braid, funnily enough, my boyfriend picked this one. And it's completely girly pink. I love it, I totally do. I was just really surprised that my boyfriend would pick such a color for me. But it's from her Illum collection, which seems to be her newest collection, and it's a collection with nicer fibers because she says that we as people and as spinners need to treat ourselves. And this is the Beauty Within colorway, and it is merino, Shetland, camel, and silk. So can you see the halo on this? This looks really, really gorgeous. I'll show you the label. So yeah, how nice is this? And I think it'll be even nicer spun up. So it has these hints of pink, but it's not completely pink. It's almost like yellowish pink. And I think it'll be gorgeous. So actually, I'm so happy with this order. I'm kind of tempted to go online right now and buy more. But I really know I shouldn't. But I kind of want to because this stuff is just amazing. So I'm really happy with what I ordered. But that's not all. No, I have more. Another small thing that I ordered from the UK also arrived today. And I ordered some stitch markers. And it came wrapped in this beautiful, beautiful paper. I thought that was genius. I thought that was so pretty. And I was opening it super carefully because I didn't want to rip this paper. It's like old newspaper, sort of. I guess it's printed, but it feels like old newspaper too. And I will show you the label because I can't pronounce it. I think it's called Fripperies and Byblots. It's a UK-based Etsy seller, and again, I will link it in the show notes so you don't have to remember this. But she's based in the UK. I checked her store this morning. She has lots of stitch markers, but her store was empty today, or relatively empty. So you might want to check back in a few days if you do want to order. So I really needed some more ring stitch markers because I have lots of the really pretty dangly ones and I love them, but when it comes to actually knitting, I like the rings, because you don't have to turn them over. So I got her ringos, I guess they call it. So they're just tiny little rings with a pearl, and the pearl is glued over the opening of the ring, I guess. So they're completely snag-free. Not sure. And I was really surprised because when I expected them to be a lot bigger. It said that they would fit comfortably on a US4 3.5mm needle, and they kind of do, but I was expecting them to be a little larger. But still, I love them, and they're nice and purple, and yeah, I like them. And then I got these ones. These ones were really cheap. They're called Simple Solid Rings, but they have this sort of raindrop shape. So I think they will be really great for lace knitting. Because they're easy, they don't, they can't get caught at all, and they're really pretty. And she had these sort of things also in heart shapes and flowers, and she also had all of these for sock knitting, which I think would be great if you like to knit lacy socks. She had similar ones like this, but just really, really tiny. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. And I also got a little sample with a 2016 stitch marker and 2 more of the rings. So yeah, I got that as a little treat, because not that I deserve a treat, but oh well. And then the last thing I ordered was something that I really needed and I never really talked about. So I don't really have a whole lot of knitting needles. I have quite a few sock needles. I have quite a few 3.5mm circulars because that's what I always use. But besides that, I have 3.5mm and I have 6mm. And I don't think I have anything in between. I do have a set of bamboo needles that I got from China that are like, I think 18 sets of all like all sizes, but they're just beyond terrible. Like they're so terrible I can't even use them. I tried to use them the other day for Magic Loop and nope, they're honestly beyond terrible, so I will throw them away. But that meant that I never had the right needles, and I think that's partly why I never knit hats, because I never have the right needles for that. And especially when I do a lot of hand spinning, I need more needles. I need more variety, or I want to knit a few more sweaters, or for the color affections you need 4.0mm, and I just didn't have any. So I've been, as you might have noticed, talking about getting a needle set for a long time. And the other day I just decided to get one because honestly I need the needles, I need good tools, and I can't believe that I have so much yarn but I don't have good needles. So my friend G from Portugal, she sent me one set of needle tips for the Knit Pro Novas, because as you might know I have a Knit Pro natural needle tip, just one, because I wanted to try it and I didn't like the wood. But I do really like the Knit Pro Nova DPN, so I thought I might try the needle tips. And at that time she had a sale at her yarn store, so she sent me one set of tips, and I tried them and I decided that I liked them. I really, really liked them, and I think on the same day I ordered the set. So what I got was this deluxe set of Knit Pro Novas. This is in German. But what I got was, I got 8 needle tips. So I got 3.5mm, 4mm, 4.5, 5, 5.5, 6mm, 7mm, and 8mm, which I think is US size 4 to US size 11. And I also got 4 cables, so I got 60 centimeters, 80 centimeters, and 200 centimeters cables. And it comes in a bag, which I can't show you because it's currently outside on my balcony because it smelled bad. It smelled like plastic. But I really love the needles, so and like I said, it comes in a bag that I can't show you, but in the bag the needles came like this. And you can see that one set is missing because I'm using them right now. But yeah, I think that's what you expect a needle set to look like. And then I got the little package cords, 4 of them. And then you also get this little bag, which I think is supposed to be for the cables. And so far I can say that I'm really happy with them. I did screw on and off every single needle tip because I wanted to make sure that nothing is broken, and I might not realize it right away. So all the joins work. Some work better than others, I will admit, but I really like them, and what I really like and what kind of drove me to buy these is that they are really light. Like, they're metal tips, but they feel so light. I don't even know how that's possible. But they're really light and they have good tips, and obviously the price point is really good. I think I got the entire set for 30-something euros. And that's a really, really good price, especially if you think about how much money you spend on yarn sometimes. So I'm really happy to have this set because now I just have so much more variety in my needles and I can just try so many more things. And I think especially with hat knitting and garments and stuff, I will definitely use them all the time. So I think that's it for acquisitions, and I know that was a lot, but yeah, I've blown all of my Christmas money now, I guess. But I feel like what I bought I actually needed, well, more or less. And even though I do spend a lot of money on fiber, compared to how much time you spend with the fiber, and that you actually, get to decide what kind of yarns you want to spin and what kinds of yarns you need for knitting and so on, I feel like buying fiber is okay, and it's probably less expensive than buying yarn. And yeah, I don't need to justify, I guess. So I think I've showed you everything that I bought or got. There's quite a few things coming in the mail to me still, but at least 3 things are presents or swaps or that sort of thing, so I guess that doesn't count. Quickly, housekeeping. Like I said, I've been a bit of a slacker when it comes to recording every week on the same day. I knew this would happen because I started changing around the days, and then yeah, everything just got a bit chaotic. So today is Monday, and theoretically I would like to stay on a Monday recording schedule, but next week I'm actually away. Next week I'm going skiing with my parents. Not sure if I mentioned this. I kind of forgot about it, or kind of had this image that sometime far in the future that would happen, but it's actually next week. So next week I will definitely not record on a Monday. I will be gone probably Sunday to Friday or something like that. So either I will just skip a week and see you in 2 weeks, or if I do manage to squeeze in a lot of knitting, which I'm not sure if I will, but if I do, I might record early, like next Friday or Saturday. Or what I thought would be really, really fun is if I recorded with my sisters, because both of them kind of know how to crochet, but one of them is really talented at it, and she does a lot of crochet and knitting and sewing. So I thought I might ask her if she would like to join me in the podcast and record a crazy episode from the skiing place where we're staying. And I'm not sure. Let me know if you're interested. I haven't asked my sister if she'd even want to. She's 16. So I'm always not sure if she will like something or hate something. But yeah, I guess what I'm saying is I don't really know when I record next, but I'll definitely let you know as soon as I know, and I will keep you posted on Instagram. And if you're subscribed on YouTube anyways, you will just, get the new video and see that it's there whenever it is. So that's it for housekeeping. Remember, if you want to win another copy and you haven't introduced yourself, go join the Ravelry group. Like I said, the Ravelry group is called the Happy Knitting Podcast Group. You can find me on Instagram, on Ravelry as wuepfi, which is WUEPFI. And you can find me on Instagram as the Happy Knitting Podcast. One podcast that I wanted to mention this week was the Legacy Knits podcast, and Knits is spelled with a Z in the end. And it is a podcast by Chelsea and Sue, who are mother and daughter, or daughter and mother, I guess, and they are just hilarious. I found them the other day, and within 3 minutes of their podcast, when they haven't even talked about knitting, I was already basically rolling on the floor and cracking up, and they're just hilarious. Like, everything they do just cracks me up so much, and I think part of them isn't even them trying to be funny. It's just how they interact as, daughter and mother, and it is just so much fun to watch. And I was kind of like, I want to record with my mom. I want to knit with my mom. That would be awesome. So yeah, definitely check them out because they're just hilarious. And Sue is a really, really seasoned knitter, and she, I think, is knitting on 2 blankets right now, which I found really interesting because, as you know, I got the blanket bug. And Chelsea is a relatively new knitter, but she's doing a sweater and socks and everything. So I'm really, really impressed. So yeah, make sure to check them out and give them some love. So I'll move on to life, and if you're not interested, that's totally fine. And honestly, there's not that much to talk about. Last week I recorded when I was having a toothache and having problems with my wisdom teeth that I think seem to have been inflamed. But I was taking medication and that's all good now. The antibiotics meant that I did get crazy amounts of side effects. So those side effects kept me basically at home for another 3 days, which was a pain. But I'm all good now, I'm all well. I will get my first wisdom tooth out in 2 weeks and then the other one in 6 weeks. So you'll be hearing more about that and I'll have more tooth pain. But at the moment I'm feeling good again, which is the main thing. Besides that, honestly, my life is really boring at the moment because I have an exam on Thursday, which is crazy because that's in 3 days. And I'm writing an exam in children's and adolescent psychiatry. So I've been at home and studying. And when I'm not studying, I'm knitting. And when I'm not knitting, I'm spinning. And when I'm not spinning, I'm studying. So honestly, that's kind of all I've been doing. We were both home on the weekend. We both didn't do anything. I've been really busy with the pattern thing. So yeah, I don't really have anything to tell you guys. I wish my life was more interesting, but I guess I'm going skiing next week, so that'll be nice. And then, yeah, we'll see what's ahead. I am supposed to start writing my master's thesis in the end of February, so that's pretty soon. And I'm not excited about it. But yeah, I mean, just things that you have to do, and I'm sure that once I start doing it, I'll be fine, and you know, life is life. So I think all that's left to say is a big thank you again to you guys. I feel like I'm thanking you all the time, but I really, really mean it. I love hearing from you guys. I love getting your messages. I love seeing what you're knitting on Ravelry and Instagram. I don't know. I just love interacting with you guys. And I'm getting so much out of it. It's not like I just do this because I want to have episodes and I want to be on YouTube. It's so much more. It's just the friends that I've found and the support that I get from you guys. It's just amazing. So again, thank you so much, and I hope you have an amazing week. I hope you have some knitting time. If you do choose to knit my shawl, feel free to tag me or use the hashtag crazydayshawl because I would love to see your projects. And I will see you next week or in 2 weeks or I don't know. I will see you whenever I'll see you. Bye bye.